Hello and welcome to a new video. In this video I'll build a horrible and slow PC. Why? Well, I have some parts from past projects that are pretty much no good for anything else. Namely this motherboard, which has a soldered AMD E1 CPU and this small form factor case from a Lenovo M93P, which I case swapped to a standard ATX case. So the idea is to build a very basic PC from leftover parts instead of throwing them away. So this motherboard is originally from a Lenovo H50 Tower PC and it has a soldered AMD E1 CPU. This PC originally had 4 gigs of dual channel RAM, but since that was a dual channel kit, I saved that for something that can utilize it better and instead put 2 and 1 gig sticks in this, so this has 3 gigs of mishmash memory. So the idea is not to use anything proper on this PC, since the CPU really cannot get bottlenecked by pretty much anything, so I try to get rid of the most horrible stuff I have with this PC. The front USB 3.0 is using a proprietary connector on this case, and actually the motherboard wouldn't have even a standard 3.0 connector, so we can't use USB 3 for this. However, we can use the USB 2.0 front panel ports since they are standard. And I need to take the original PSU out because this motherboard will be using a laptop style power brick. It's so low power, and this PSU probably could be sold on eBay or similar, because these PSUs sometimes blow up on these PCs, and so a spare PSU is probably not as useless as a spare SFF proprietary case. Both the case and the motherboard are Lenovo proprietary, so most of the parts fit well together. The I/O shield is using the same Lenovo standard or non-standard with both of the parts. After installing the motherboard, I plugged in the front fan connector, which luckily was entirely standard, and then I installed a Wi-Fi card. I have these lying around from broken laptops, so might as well put one here since the case already has an antenna and the motherboard has a mini PCIe slot, so no need to even waste an adapter for this PC. After that, I had to take the plastic front panel off in order to install the USB 2.0 front panel ports, which I had taken off during the case swap process, but I didn't end up using them anywhere on the new case since they are proprietary, so they were left here. Also, I plugged in the original DVD drive from this PC. After that I connected this SATA power to the DVD drive, which runs through the Mobo on these Lenovo motherboards. After that I tried to figure out where it would be best to mount the SSD, and I ended up just installing it with one screw on the bottom of the HDD tray. This SSD is a 250 gig SSD, and despite it being random of brand cheap stuff, maybe it was a bit overkill installing that big of an SSD in this PC. I don't know if anyone is going to use it that long that they're gonna fill this SSD with stuff, but I like to install bigger SSDs on the PCs that do not have an additional HDD, and this definitely won't, since it won't need any Steam library space, since this won't be able to play any games. I applied some new thermal paste, and after that it was mainly just a matter of managing the cables and making sure that everything is plugged in, and after that I just put the side panel back on, and it's time to test how horrible this PC in fact is. Since I couldn't use the USB 3.0 and the front panel audio anyway, I decided to cover them with this silver vinyl strip, and after that I powered up the PC. I don't think we need to run any benchmarks, since this PC cannot in fact run the Windows 10 settings well enough, I think. With AMD E1 there is pretty much always 2 to 4 seconds delay after each click or other action, and sometimes there's 10 seconds. And this is running completely off an SSD, so that couldn't save the performance either. I would say this is way worse than any Core 2 Duo which I have tried, and those are older CPUs. So yeah, I think somebody calling these CPUs AMD's e-waste line was completely justified. But maybe, just maybe, this PC will be to someone better option than no PC. Just maybe.